All right, everyone, welcome to the 10th episode of the Sell SaaS podcast. My name is Will Padilla. I'm your host. And I feel like I should be telling you, and welcome to the New Medical Device Sales podcast, because I'm in my buddy Jacob McLaughlin's studio. It's awesome. We're at the Kierland Optima, which if you guys have ever been in the Scottsdale area, there's these really nice apartments called the Optima Apartments. They're all throughout the valley, and this is definitely the nicest one. So I'm really grateful to be here. Excited to talk to Jacob today about his experience. He just transitioned to his own full business of helping people break into medical device sales. And you're probably thinking, okay, this is a software sales podcast, right? It is. But as the podcast grows, it's important to tap into other sales industries to learn from best practices, whether it be medical device sales, solar, who knows what's next for our podcast. But Jacob here has a very, very successful business, a successful content creation brand. He has YouTube, Spotify podcast, a lot of stuff going on that I think you guys are really going to learn from today. And literally before this, we had an ice bath. We did a lot of great stuff. So Jacob, I'm going to turn it over to you. Do a quick intro, and thanks for having me at your studio.
Oh yeah, man. Thanks. It's great to have you here at the studio. And no, it's been absolutely just fun just hanging out. Like you said, hit a little cold plunge right before this, and then we've just been chatting it up. Did actually a little sales call right before this that we got to talk to. But yeah, I guess I can start why I'm in med device sales, what we've done with our business, and kind of let everybody know. So if you guys don't know who I am, my name's Jacob McLaughlin. I'm out of Iowa originally, now living here in Arizona, which is crazy for the last 6 years. It's funny how time flies. But yeah, I came from Iowa, decided that I wanted to do personal training. So I left Iowa with 7 years ago. I had $66 to my name. And I was able to get $1,200 to my name, and then was like, let's move out to Arizona because it's warm. So I moved out here, came out to Arizona, was a personal trainer, did that for about 3.5 years before COVID hit. Just really worked hard, got around a lot of good people. Was like, I want to break into medical device sales. And so what led me down that is I really liked helping people, talked to some people that had been in it. And I was like, I think I want to do this, but got told you'll never break into medical device sales because you don't have B2B sales experience. Personal training didn't count, even though I was selling those clients. And then was just like, hey, you'll never do this. Well, me being fortunate being here in Scottsdale, I've got the opportunity to work with a lot of millionaires. Mm-hmm. And what I learned during that time was, why am I going to let Bob, who makes $100,000 a year, tell me what I can't do when I have a guy I know making $10 million a month tell me what I can do? Mm-hmm. And that was what I needed to hear at all the time. So as a 25-year-old kid, I just decided not to listen to everybody tell me I can't break in. Over 6 months, I reached out to over 3,000 people. Was able to get 4 job offers from the top companies in the world, such as Stryker, Johnson & Johnson, Zimmer Biomet. And then I ended up skipping the associate sales rep role in medical device. And I came in as a full line rep, making 6 figures right away with Medtronic, which is the largest company in the world for medical device sales. Was very fortunate to have success, worked hard, and took the lowest performing territory in the nation to number 8. So top 10 my first fiscal year. Because of that, I got headhunted. And then I got the opportunity to go be a regional sales manager. So normally you need about 10 years experience to go do that. Was able to do it with under 2 years experience. Then I was there running the Western United States, had over 13 states under my territory. Was able to grow that territory. I got to just be careful with the numbers that I'm sharing, but I went from zero, well over $500,000 in 18 months. I don't want to give specifics, but well over $500,000. And I was able to do one of the largest deals in company's history, especially it was the largest deal I had ever done in med device sales. And then from there, while I was doing that, I built a business on the side where we've helped over 1,500 people break into medical device sales with and without sales experience. And as of last week, went full time on the business of new to medical device sales, where we break people into medical device sales on average in 8.2 weeks at $94,478.
Impressive stats, as you guys can tell. And that's really we were talking before this, and I was just getting to know Jacob, and you're a hustler, dude. Even though, I do the software sales stuff. Mm-hmm. I help people break in, help people excel in their career. Yep. Jacob's really taken that whole helping people break into medical device sales kind of to that next level. And that's where he's able to be able to do this full time. Yeah. And you don't get to a position like this without actually putting in the hard work and learning all the ropes. And putting yourself out there. So, I mean, that's really why I was excited to connect with you, and the fact that we're both in Scottsdale is perfect.
Yeah.
So I'm obsessed like with the Arizona area as well.
Of course, man.
Great weather.
It's beautiful.
Tell everyone, like, because software sales is hard to break in.
Yeah.
Same with medical device sales. You had people telling you couldn't do this. You'll never break in.
Yeah.
You're a trainer. You're not fit for this. Yeah. And so how did you, number one, overcome that constant, you can't do this?
Yeah.
And then number two, like, how did you, like, what were the specifics of how did you break in? How many resumes, like, what was the rejection like? Tell us about that.
Yeah. So real quick, if you guys don't know about the medical device sales world, it's been known as one of the toughest industries in the world to break into. Just like software sales, we'll come into it. But to give you guys an idea, like on average right now, what we do as a business and help people, the average interview process is 5 to 7 interviews. It's 6 to 12 weeks long, and you're going to go up against 500 plus people per position. And so that's just to give you a little background of what this industry is, because the average rep's going to make $177,000. So we always just
Their
make
first year
as a rep, and like the whole year. First year is a lot of times you'll see the 60K, 65K, but that's where we're getting on average between our people, usually between that $75,000 and $110,000 first year. Again, our average is $94,478. But again, once you get in 2, 3, 4 years, you can do that. I've always been very vocal. One reason people even listen to me is my first year, I did over 200. And so I beat the average in my first year in med device sales, had success in it. But yeah, so it's a very difficult industry to break in. But one of the things I'll just say is my whole life I've been told what I can't do. And so you asked me like, hey, what kept you going? Right. And like I said, one of the biggest things that ever kept me going is I just had the talks with my guys that they've believed in me my whole time. They've helped me out just from like an encouragement point. And when I'm watching them be millionaires and they're telling me, hey, yeah, you got it. You're going far. That gave me just the energy and the power of like, hey, you can do this. And so, like I said, when Bob's telling me I can't do it and he makes $180,000 and he's paying half of it to taxes and all this stuff, and I'm watching a guy tell me how he's making millions of dollars a month, I'm like, well, I'm going to listen to him, man. Yeah. I'm not going to listen to Bob. I'm going to listen to him. And that's where I want to be one day. So that was always like the go. But also just like I got told I'd never play basketball in college. Was able to go play for a year. Then I realized I'm not as good as I thought I was good, but was able to make it, right? And the reason I'm just saying that is I've always been told what I can't do. And I've made some posts on LinkedIn and talked about it. But like at this point in my life, all I've been able to learn is whatever everybody tells me I can't do is the only thing that God's allowed me to do. And because I don't and that's what people miss is everything that's been put on my heart and put in my like head that I want to accomplish. It ain't from me, it's from God. And so the reason I'm saying that is that's the confidence I have of like, I'm going to go accomplish that. You might be telling me I can't, but you didn't give me this vision. You didn't tell me what I could and can't, what I could or couldn't do. And so when someone in their mind is always telling me, no, you can't do this. I have a saying on our podcast and we talk about it all the time is eagles don't fly with pigeons. I ain't a pigeon. I ain't trying to be you. Like I've said on a med device podcast all the time, I ain't taking advice from someone making $150K a year when I'm trying to make $150K a month. Yeah. And that's always just been my mindset. So that hopefully gives you a little insight in my head of like, yeah, so you can't break in, you can't do it. That was just getting me excited to tell me I could do it. Hey, that's a challenge. Oh, it's just like sales 101. That's just an objection of you telling me what I can't. Okay, great. I'm just going to go prove it to myself. And so I'm a type A personality like yourself and many salespeople. So when I commit, I go all in. And so I went in, like I said, reached out to thousands of people, was on calls. There would be days I was doing 14 hours worth of calls, getting up at 4 a.m., talking to people in New York, on the East Coast. And then I'd be finishing it at 9 o'clock, but they're on the West Coast. So I had an hour in between. Taking documents. I had notebooks of everybody, an Excel sheet of every single person I ever talked to with notes, who they were, when I talked to them, a little bit about their life, when to follow up with them next, like did it. And so the reason I'm saying that is I did the job to get the job. They're always going to tell me what I couldn't do, but then they're like, you don't know how to prospect. And when I give them an Excel sheet with 180 names on them, I'm like, what do you think? Right? I just took that objection right away. Hey, you don't know how to actually get in front and do a demo. Hey, that's great. But this whole time I've been acting like you're a surgeon and I've been getting in front of you and here we are sitting here. I used that in one of my finals and they're like, dang, good answer, right? Just being able to understand it. And so that's what always kept me going. So yeah, when people put me down and stuff, I always just thought, that just got me closer to the next yes. I know just gets me closer to the next yes. Yeah. Right. And so that's what I just continue to remember is, dude, I got told by everybody, you'll never break in. Go get sales experience. Go do this. Yeah. And every single time I was like, Hey, Will, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That means the absolute world. And thank you so much for taking time with me. I'd hang up the phone. First off, I truly was appreciative of their advice and they gave me time. But number two, like, you don't know me. You don't know what I've been through. You don't know my life. Like again, we talked a little off air and I don't ever want to go in, but like people don't know what I've actually been through. So you think breaking into med device sales is going to be tough after being through half that stuff? No way. And I say that to our people all the time. I've talked to people who've lost their parents when they were 16. I've had people like lose family members or go through the biggest things. And they're like, I don't know if I can break into med device sales. I'm like, you kidding me? You don't think you can do that after losing a parent? I don't know what I would do. That's a long ramble of a roundabout stuff, but to give you an idea of like, when people told me what I couldn't do, it just gets me like, even today, tell me you can't do something. Let's go. Let me prove to you why I can. Right. And then like, how did I stay to be able to do it and go through that process? It was just networking, reaching out. And like I said, doing the job to get the job. And guess what? All I thought to myself is I just need one.
You just need one.
That's it, man. You go through this whole process. I don't need everybody to like me. That's sales, dude. You get on a sales call all the time. I don't need them. I work with doctors. I don't need every doctor to use me. I get 10. I'm going to change my life and I'm going to change my quota.
Yeah.
Right? In my territory. And so that's kind of the thing that always keeps me going.
That's like what we tell a lot of our software sales people who are trying to break in is you have to do the job to get the job.
Yeah.
And I think that's why medical sales and software sales are somewhat comparable.
Yeah.
But I also will give you more credit because when I broke into software sales in early 2020, I had the advantage of everything going remote in software where people needed reps. And so, it was a bit difficult for me to break in. I had a lot of people who said, you don't have software sales experience. We don't want you. But I almost had right time, right place of like, I'm wanting to go into technology when the whole world is shut down. And so it was sounds a little bit easier than it was for you to break into medical sales. But what you dealt with in medical sales when people are dealing with today is the reality of the software sales market. It's extremely competitive right now. Like I have SDRs tell me that for an SDR position, it's like 7-step process for an entry-level job. I have AEs who have, 5-6 years of high-level sales experience who are getting just auto-rejected. When you would think that's an extremely strong resume. They've been at the same company 5-6 years. You'd think that they would be a shoo-in, but today's market is so much like you have to do the job to get the job. Connect with all the right individuals, show them that you can actually prospect.
Exactly. And one thing I just want to touch, because hopefully I can just provide value to you guys, is like, that's every single.
Tell them about that.
So like med device sales, that's every single process, right? They're going up against 500 people all the time, right? And so I actually just made a podcast this last week on one of our other podcasts is, one of the biggest things is everyone thinks it's their resume. Man, I was teaching jumping jacks to 7-year-olds. If we just go off resume, it's not there. But what I could tell you is doing the job to get the job. It's being there. Get me in front of somebody. Let me show you the work. But this is what I can sit here and tell you. And I can say it to all of you guys is, know what everyone says? I work hard. You know what I've learned in this life? Almost nobody works hard. They work hard till they don't work hard. Right. And that's the thing is what I've just seen and what I preach to our people inside of our course is, hey, stop telling people you're going to do the work and just do the work. Talk is cheap. Right? Everyone tells me they're going to break into med device sales. Everyone tells me they're going to make the $50,000 commission checks. Everyone tells me all this. They don't do crap. Actually, just go do the work and let the work talk for yourself. Right? And so what I can just sit here and say is, especially for your listeners, like it's hard. Yep. You want to be in the top 10% of Americans. Yep. It's hard. Do the work. Right? Once you switch that mindset, and Alex Mosey, you're going to hear me talk about him all the time, but like a lot of people just need the okay to say it's hard. Yeah, it's hard. Accept it, move on.
Right.
You should chase the hard. That's what like type A personality people. I do stuff every single day that's hard because I love it. Because I know nobody else is doing it. Right. And so I think that's one thing that I want to just say to your listeners is, the biggest thing is I can tell you is it's a 7-step process. You have to be able to stand out. Now I'm going to tail this back in because it's going to be for your AEs and the people that are like, have a great experience. I just had this about our talk is that's what I hear all the time from our med reps. Oh, the hardest thing once you get in is to get in, but then once you're in, it's easy. That's crap.
It's total BS.
Because, I say this all the time. There's people who've got 10 plus years experience. That's who I used to beat out with no experience. Why? because I was hungrier. I showed that I did more, all this stuff. So the reason I'm just saying that is if you have your reps listening to this and they got 5 years experience and they're like, oh, Will, but I did A, B, C, D. I just had this talk with one of our students the other day. He was trying to convince himself. He's like, I got this great, and he has a great background, but he's like, I do A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I'm pretty sure that's why they would want to pick me over that person. And I looked at him and I was like, and that's why you're going to lose. And he's like, what? You're justifying why you think you're better than you actually are. And I'm not saying you're not good, man, but you think you're better than you are. And that's why you're not going to prepare and not going to do the stuff that you actually need to do. And I can sit here and tell you, because I've been very blessed to have a lot of success very quickly in a very tough industry. And then to be able to build a business that does very well on the side. And we're growing that now. Every single day rent is due. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter when I make my massive deals that are over $500,000. The next day I do the exact same thing I did, like I didn't make that deal. And that's the only reason I've been successful. Even now, like we talk about this time and we have a studio now and it's beautiful and it's all this stuff. Yeah, I could be like, chilling. But why I love having you come in here and I love having our team here and love all this stuff, I don't feel like any of it's mine. I feel like I'm still that kid with $66 to his name 6 years ago, waking up on an air mattress with a hole on it because I don't have enough money to go buy a new one. And let's do it again tomorrow. And that's the only reason that we keep moving and moving. And so I just say that because hopefully that's helpful to the people that are listening to this that have experience. Throw your experience out the window. Because guess what? You're going to have someone like myself who's hungrier than you. And I can come in and I'm just going to say this and it's going to be cocky. Probably rob some of the ring. I'll come in and I'll take your job. I don't know it now, but in 3 months, I'll know it pretty dang well because I won't sleep until I do. And then I'm going to do all the work. And this is what I wanted to share with all of your listeners. This is how they're going to get hired. Stop applying. Why is your resume going up against 500 other people going to show? It's not. How about you actually network with people? How about you make relationships? And instead of getting on a call with them and asking for a job and to pick their brain and do that, how about you actually just say, hey, Will, I see you've been really successful in software sales, and I'll just love to learn about your experiences. I'm really looking to break in, or I'm looking at this position. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself and how you got into this and what made you? And then guess what you're going to do? You're going to talk about it and you're going to share that experience. And then they're going to just ask some really good qualified questions because they did some research and showed that they're in the 1% and they didn't just show up blind and call you. And then you're going to continue to help them and talk about it. And then at the end, they're going to say, Will, I really appreciate all your time. And I took these notes. I want to say thank you so much. And I'm going to get off the phone call with you. And I'm going to take some of the thing that you told me and I'm going to text you and actually say thank you for your time because I actually do truly appreciate what you did and took time out of your day when you didn't have to. And I'm going to put something that you said in there to show that I was listening. And then I'm going to follow up in a week because I'm going to do the job to get the job. But guess what you did the whole time? Talked about yourself and talked about, hey, this is how I'm going to help you. And guess what you think about me now? You freaking think I rock. Yeah. Because all you did was just talk about yourself the whole time. And I just kept asking and learning. And now you're going to be like, man, Jacob's awesome. Let's help him see what we can do. That's why everybody gets it wrong because everybody tries to come and try to prove themselves right away. And then nobody wants to help you.
Yeah, you got to be like humble and hungry.
And you just come to listen. And like, this is the thing is actually just want to be learning. Like, that's what I tell you. You guys want to know the secret to the sauce? Put your agenda out.
Yeah, just show
and
up.
Come to learn.
Yeah, show up, learn, take direction.
Yeah.
All my coaches ever, like whether it's golf coach, running coach, sales coach, whoever, the first thing they always say is, you take direction. They're like, you actually listen and you implement.
Yep.
And they said 90% of the students in anything that they do, they say they come in there, they kind of look at it like this, but then they say, oh, well, I know better. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Or, well, I've all my experience, so I don't really think I need to start with the basics.
Yeah.
And what it does is it frustrates the coach. They don't trust you. And they'd rather just go for people who actually want to learn and who are receptive to your coaching.
Yep.
So I 100% agree. And, just a quick story on that, because we both have pretty decent social media followings. Yep. I get a lot of messages every week of like, Will, can I pick your brain? And I just don't have the time.
Yeah.
I just don't have the time. And so what people have done, and this is the rare ones, but talk about how it works. A kid out here in Scottsdale, he wanted to break into software sales. He goes to ASU and he works at the Phoenician.
Yep.
And he knows I post about golf. And instead of the stereotypical, can I pick your brain? And again, this kid, now I just got him hired in a software sales job.
Come on.
He sent me a text yesterday. He said he would have never broken into software sales without the tips I did. But here's what he did. This is next level. He said, hey, I work at the Phoenician, which is, if you're in Scottsdale, it's probably the nicest course in the Scottsdale area, outside of maybe a couple others like TPC, but the Phoenician's baller. And he's like, I want to put 18 holes on me. I just want to golf with you and the entire time ask you questions about software sales and how to interview. Not only was it the best, it was the best round of golf I've ever played because it's like the nicest course.
Yeah.
And I didn't have to pay for it. That makes it better.
Yeah, even better.
I was just like, I kept telling him, I said, the fact that you even did this was like, you're literally always going to be successful.
Bam.
Just because you actually did this. I said, I don't even know what you're going to do in life, but because you literally put yourself out there and said, I want to gift this guy who I follow on TikTok a round of golf to learn from him. And sure enough, he beat everyone else out.
Bam.
He got a software sales job pre-graduation, which is rare. A lot of these software people are like, I can't get a job.
Yep.
Like no one wants to hire a recent grad. He already has a job, locked down, signed the offer letter.
Yep.
Don't even really want to take credit for it because he put himself out there to get me in that position.
Yep.
A couple other people have taken me out to lunch. They've sent me a gift card for my time. And those type of people, it's not even really about the money or the gift.
Yes.
It's just the gesture of them saying, hey, I want to learn from you so bad that I'm going to do something different because I know you probably get 20 messages of, can I pick your brain and learn about software sales? When I get that, delete. I get probably 15, 20 a week.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And so I take a lot of care for the people that actually want to go the extra mile.
100%, man. And what you just said is it's the gesture. And I learned this because I was in strength and conditioning, like going way back, but working with like athletes, professional coaches. And what I just learned is like, one guy told a story about how it's a very competitive field to get in there. You have to work for free. I took out loans to go work 100 hours a week, like all this stuff, right? But the reason I'm just saying that is he talked about like, there was a story about being with a coach and that he ended up paying the Uber for that coach and it was his last $20 that he had.
Wow.
And then because of that, it turned into a job, right? And all this stuff. But the reason I'm just saying that it's the same thing here is I offered people to like, hey, can I just pay you $500 to spend an hour with you? Because it's always made sense to invest in yourself, right? Like, oh, I want to get to know you. Hey, Will, like I can just sit here and tell you, it's like, hey, Will, your time is busy. You have a full-time job. You do everything. Okay, can I do this? But it goes back into most people are coming from a selfish place. Hey, Will, what can I just get from you? Hey, Will, you put some stuff out. Just get on a call with me because I'm coming deserving and I think I'm better than blah, blah, blah. And that's why most of you don't have success and why you won't break in. But the moment you switch it and say, hey, what can I do to learn from you? Hey, is it okay if I just buy this for you? Right? Like even now, it's a very nice gesture, but like now I have people, hey man, can I buy you a coffee? I'm sorry, but $12 isn't worth my time. Right. And it's
not worth it anymore for you.
And it's very nice. And I truly appreciate it. But it's like for us, we have thousands of hours of stuff out there for free. We're like, hey, just go watch it. But the reason I want to go on that is it's the gesture that you're saying though. That gesture shows that, hey, you're going to go. That person, Phoenician, let's just say it's $500. Let's round up, right? Let's say it was $500, right? Well, that person just invested $500 to get a job that's going to pay them 6 figures. To me, pretty dang good investment. But that's how nobody...
It's a great ROI.
Right? That's it. That's return on investment. And that's how we run our whole business. And that's what nobody thinks about.
And I tell people if whoever my mentees are, or if they do stuff like that, they take me out to lunch, dinner, and I really like them. Yeah. I say, by the way, you can say that you are a Sell SaaS mentee and point them to my social media and say, yeah, this guy who's a senior AE at a top software company has actually coached me. And this is where I learned some of that information. Yes. So you can use my name as a reference for anywhere you want to go.
And that's a big place, but I will sit here and tell you, like, as we've had it, people will watch my podcast and then they'll just put me down as job referrals. And then I would have calls and I was like, thank you. You just made this easy. I will never say, like, I'll say, no, I don't know that person and you should not hire them. Right. Because people will just do that because, again, going back from a selfish standpoint, this is what I can just sit here and tell you to everybody that's listening. If you can come and be selfless, we all know what you want. Every single person who reaches out to me, I know what they want. I know they want a job in med device sales. We know that. But what's the difference between the person who's reaching out and saying, I just want to pick your brain. Hey, I want to do this. Putting in little effort, just doing that. Like we just had a call today with a lady who literally applied to our course and then gets mad at me and she's like, I don't know where the website is. And I was like, you literally applied on the website. But then they, right? And then I can always make those laughs and those jokes is because you just showed me why you suck and why you'll never get hired. You're selfish.
Harsh, but true.
Oh, like dude, I say this all the time, man. Like people either listen to me and they're like, he's either the biggest jerk or he actually truly cares about us because he's willing us to tell us the truth. Right. And like the reason I can say that, I've just gone through enough life. You know what everybody does is sugarcoats it. Mm-hmm. And then it just wastes your time for another 6, 12, 2 years of your life, 6 months, 12 months, 2 months, or 2 years of your life because nobody was nice enough to be like, yeah, you came in, you just sent a text that I want to pick your brain. Why would I get on a call with you when I don't know who you are? And you just showed me that I probably shouldn't get on a call with you. Well, Jacob, that's mean. That's sales. Mm. Go reach out to a doctor and say what every other rep says. They'll tell you to go screw off. And like that's what we're big on is like, I'm never out here to be mean to people, but it's just like, how can we love people on the right way? But it's like, everybody's just trying not to hurt anybody's feelings. But here's the thing. It doesn't matter what I say. Somebody's going to love me and somebody's going to hate me. It's social media, right? The fact that I wear a cross while I have this, someone's going to be offended, right? I'm not here to worry about if you're offended or not offended. I'm hired to get people's results. And that's what I look at. When I get on a call, when I do a podcast, when I do anything, I'm just here to get you guys value and get you results. It's your job to take it. And what I just always tell people will get off the call sometimes and they'll get off a podcast. Like I had a guy the other day. Yeah, I didn't listen to you for 3 months because I watched one of your videos and I thought you were a jerk. Now we're on a call 3 months later because he's like, I realized everything you said was true. And it hasn't worked when I try to do it on my own. I'm like, yeah, man, like I'm not trying to do it, but like you'll see me like make the voices or do all the stuff because it's all these people think like, again, we're in type A personality. You and I talked about this off air. What happens? You know how many DMs I get in my thing telling me why I suck and why I should shut my mouth and shut the F up and all that stuff all the time. But the people who don't even help others.
Yeah.
You're out here putting yourself out here
They're the haters.
To help others, but you're going to have someone telling you why you suck. And that person's never said anything to anybody else, right? And that's just life. And so the reason I'm just saying this to you guys, and hopefully this can provide value, is everything we're saying, we're doing this on our free time because we just want to help you.
Yeah, genuinely. Like impact.
Yeah, like what people don't understand is they'll see we have a course now and we help people break into med device sales. That course didn't come alive till 2 years ago. I've been doing this for over 4 years. I got tens of thousands of calls for free. I just helped people. My first podcast is I'm a personal trainer. I want to break into med device sales. Watch this. Follow along the journey. All this stuff is just putting out the value for them for free.
And you guys who are listening, maybe you're realizing maybe software sales is not going the way you thought it would. And maybe you want to transition to medical sales. Very translatable skills, and you could hit up Jacob for that. Yeah,
but same thing. Well, we talk about med device sales going to software sales. Yeah. I just talked to a guy who left med device sales to go software sales. They like, hey, it's more remote, all this stuff. Like transparently, we've had people do our course in med device sales because we are training people to get in the top. I've gotten people placed in software sales starting out at $175,000.
Yeah.
Why? Because the med device industry that we're getting them hired in, take that over into that industry, bam, they get hired. Because right, it's not the actual industry. But the reason I'm just saying that is, yeah, people just have to find what's good for them.
Right.
Right. Like I wanted to go healthcare and all that because my mom was a nurse. I had more tie. I've been around surgeons, all that stuff. The software sales, I still struggle with my iPhone some days. You know what I mean? So like, it just wasn't my thing. But like, yeah, everyone's on their own different journey. And that's what the biggest thing is just finding out who you are. And that's one thing I just want to say to your listeners.
Yeah, please.
If you don't know what your purpose or your passion is in life, start chasing that, man. Spend the next 2-3 years trying to figure that out.
Right.
You know, like my passion is helping people. I was a coach, personal trainer, all this stuff. That's what led, like everyone says it now is like, well, I can do my full-time job now with us coaching is I love coaching. I love watching it. We just got a 22-year-old hired at $148,000.
Wow.
We know we just changed his life. I say this all the time. Yeah, I can go get another $50,000 commission check being in med device sales. That's great.
Sure. But
what's that do for me? I can already take the trip I want to. Like again, like we talked about 6 years ago, I had $66 to my name. The day I got my first 50,000 plus commission check, my life changed. So now I have more fun watching.
Is so good.
Yeah, God, it's all God, right? But I have more fun watching those people win now.
It's way more fun.
That's the best
because you already mastered the excelling on your own thing.
Yeah.
Now you want to see others win.
Man. And I just need to say that because this is one thing that I've been telling everybody is I love Ted Lasso. It's a great show. If you guys need to just laugh and you want to watch it, just go watch it. But there's a guy, Higgins, and he said this one time, and it's literally the quote that now growing my team, being a CEO, having people underneath us, I run, but our students that are with us, it's literally my motto as me, as a man, and as a CEO, as a coach. A good mentor hopes you move on. A great mentor knows you'll move on. It's my job to have you try to beat me. So many people come in with the ego to try to be like, oh, I'm the best. I'm the best. I came in at 25 years old, came in with the largest company in the world. My app plan first year was 135, did really well, did over 200, but like my app plan was 135. Everyone freaked out. Dude, you came in 25 years old I just got a 22-year-old hired at $148,000. He crushed me. And know what? I'm happier for him than it was for me getting in. And that's, I think, the big thing about when you can get to that point. Like my job, like we talked about this on the roof, right? I'm happy to have people who work for me. And then my response is, yeah, they work for me, but I work for them. It's my job to give the people that work for me and that are a part of our team the resources they need. The people I'm coaching, it's my job. It's my responsibility to get the results they're looking for. And I think that's the thing is when we go through this life of success and sales and all this stuff, you're always learning and growing, but what are you giving back? And that has been like the whole thing of how we've grown our businesses, how we've been able to change people's lives, how I had success in med device sales. Getting what I got was just a byproduct of me saying, what can I do to help you? Sales 101. What can I do to make your life easier, nurse? Your life easier, surgeon? What can I do to just make this process better? That's what it's always about, is giving the value. And then all the other stuff. I had a mentor tell me this, that hopefully it's helpful for you guys, is all money is a reflection of the value. You know why you make a lot of money in software sales and med device sales? Because you're selling a product that's making a big difference in someone's life. That's just value.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, that's the big thing to focus on when they are trying to do this.
I agree. I'd like to transition to a couple different topics.
Yeah.
The first is really about your content. So how important is content in generating business for new to medical device sales?
Oh, it's massive, man. It's one of the biggest things for us, just because of people got to know who you are, right? And so like we're everywhere. If you search medical device sales, we'll pop up. I'm very blessed to say that, but that's also 4 years of posting every single day, nonstop. We now have a team, thankfully, to help with that. So I don't have to do the hour of posting, the videos, the TikToks, all the stuff that I used to do while still running a med device job. But yeah, it's just the biggest thing is just, hey, getting a lot of content out. But I think the biggest thing is where most people struggle with the content game is they're just trying to give content, make content, which is great. But if it's not getting any value or giving any value, nobody's going to watch it. Right. And so how can you do stuff that's actually going to help people? And I think that's the big thing though, is content is massive in this world, because Alex Hormozi, once again, talks about it. It used to be oil that was like the big currency in life. Now it's attention. People want to know who you are, right? I've done deals in med device sales. Why? Because people actually knew who I was just by posting on LinkedIn. And then I can go talk to a surgeon, and then I can go do that. And then they see me posting and they follow the journey, right? That's literally how I have a business. My first podcast was me. Now we had one when I did fitness as well, but 4 people watched it, right? Different. But like now I'm here. Like I said, my first podcast was, hey, I want to break into med device sales. Watch this, right? And so now everybody's getting told they can't do it, but I'm the one guy saying you can do it because I did it and you can watch the whole journey how I did it. And so I think that's the big thing. But yeah, content is absolutely massive in the world. But there's 2 things you got to think about. You're either one of these 2. In content, you're either a consumer or a creator.
I'd rather be the creator. Bam.
And that's what most people miss. But then they're like, what am I going to create about? Because what will happen is everybody will watch this and they'll be like, well, I'm in software sales. Maybe I'm going to do software sales, right? And they'll all try to do it. Now
they all try and create.
And then they just copy because they don't know what to do. So they see your stuff and you're already doing it. So they're going to just copy it. And that's the world, right? They'll do it. But I'm like, why don't you just do something you actually love? Right. Because that's like, there's a guy right now who just, tells jokes. He's famous off of TikTok, right? Like whatever it is, just go be a creator. And then, because people are going to consume it. And that's how you do build the business, right? Yeah. But I think that's what a lot of people don't ever hear and they don't think about with building a business is you're either getting watched or you're watching. And right. And so, but why are people watching? And again, it goes back to value. Now, you provide great value because it's tips and stuff, but there's some people dancing. People like to watch them dance. That's value.
Sure.
Some people are funny. That's value, right? Like what happens is so many other people try to tell you what value is, but guess what? It's going to happen. The audience is going to tell you what value is because you're going to see what they respond to.
Facts. Now, I got one for you that I deal with.
Yeah.
So I have 7 years of sales experience, but 4 in software sales. Yep. And so a lot of people, especially early on and maybe even somewhat now, say, well, how could he get up there and tell advice?
Yeah.
I have more experience than him. I know more than him. And you in medical sales, these guys who've been in for 10 plus years, that see you on there, they see you on the podcast, they see you on YouTube, and they say, I know more than him. How can he be giving advice? What would you say to that?
Oh, it's because they've never figured out how to upload a YouTube video. Right? Like that's just like a spit in the face. They're going to be like, oh, well, I'm going to go figure it out tonight. Right?
Right.
Your content's still going to suck because you don't know what they want. You're going to start giving them what you think they need. Right? What I will just sit here and tell you is like, we were talking often, like, yeah, there's a lot of people who see me 5, 10 plus years and they'll be like, why should he give any advice? Why should he do anything? First off, now I've just done it and I've helped over 1,500 people. So now I know it works, right? Like this isn't me just saying it because I think it sounds good. But number 2, it's like, yeah, you used to use a pager, Rec. Like we don't use pagers anymore. And then they'll get really offended by that one, right? But the reality of it's changing. The times are changing, right?
For sure.
But what I can sit here and tell you is every single person, like I've had managers reach out to people that I personally know and they're like, you shouldn't talk to Jacob. He sucks. And they're like,
salty.
Oh yeah. And they're like, oh great. Have you ever talked to him? And they're like, no, but I heard he's a horrible person. And like one of them was my mentor and he's like, that's funny. He's one of the best dudes I've ever met. And if you actually talk to him, but again, I can't control what they're going to say.
That's a hater.
It is. But this is where you laugh about it because what I always have to justify, and you have to think about it too, is I don't know their name, but they know my name.
That's
right?
what I always say.
So you go to that aspect of it. That's number 1. But number 2, every single person who's ever talked negatively about what I'm putting out there is the same person who's never got on a phone call to help somebody. They're the same people who are like, oh, all these idiots are reaching out to me wanting to break into med device sales. But you just call them idiots, but instead you don't even get on a call, right? That's been my thing.
This needs to be said.
I've been on 10,000 phone calls. Why can I talk so direct? I've been on 10,000 phone calls with people who want to break in and helped them and did it. And I never asked $1 from them because I just wanted, going back to everything we're saying, I just wanted to help people.
I just want to help you.
That's it, man.
That's it.
But like you're talking to all Rick and Becky and all these people and they're like, you suck. I've done this and all that. Going back to what I said, rent is due every single day and great. Who cares, right? What are you doing to put out there? What are you doing to make a difference? And that's it. But all the DMs, all the people on my comments that you suck, all this stuff. Oh, I'm in med device sales for 15 years. Every single time, 1 subscriber, no profile pic.
That's what they always me too.
You know what I mean? I'm like, great, cool, right? And it could be them, it could not be them. But I think that's the biggest thing is like, you deal with it and you learn like the content game is like, yeah, there's a lot of it. There's a lot of trolls. There's a lot of people who aren't happy. And that's one thing that like you and I can connect on is like, once you start getting in this role, once you start making 6 figures, once you start actually making real money, once you start doing this, guess what? You want to be around more positive people.
Oh, 100%.
But what you just find is like most people in life suck. Most people in life are very negative. Most people in life are going to be a victim and they're going to talk about the problems. But when you get around other like-minded people, guess what? Know what we haven't talked about? All the people that suck and all this stuff. We're just talking about what we're doing in life and how we're advancing and how can we help other people. And I think that's the biggest step you see because you're going to see people, but it's why I talked about the reason I was able to leave med device sales, like actually walk away and not have any regret. I accomplished more in about 3.5 years than most people do in a whole career.
Sure.
And why I did that, I built a whole business. I built 2 businesses on the side and 1 business that's been able to help over 1,500 people. I don't need to be told if I suck or what, because I controlled the narrative and I said, hey, I turned my 2 weeks in, right? Because every single person else is going to see it. They're going to be sinning when I left. They're going to be like, see, I told you he wasn't good enough. He got fired or whatever. Great. But that's not the truth and they've never talked to me. But I can just continue to say the people who are those people that have been in for 10 plus years, all the stuff, are the same people who haven't helped one person. They don't try to help any people. And they think that they're very selfish. They're very selfish, but they're like, I'm better than you. Great. Like this is what I love about sales and I'm competition. Let's go. Put us on the finish line. Like, hey, you want to start a med device thing? Great. Let's go. I was up at 4 a.m. doing a call this morning. You probably won't be up there. It is Friday evening. We're going to go I'm going to be working till 8 or 9 o'clock tonight. Saturday morning, 6 a.m. Guess where I'm going to be doing?
Yeah.
I know you ain't going to be doing that, right? Like that's to the people we talk to.
Dude.
But they'll tell you why you suck.
Speaking facts.
Yeah, but they just don't want to do the actual work. And that's one of my thing is like, and the one thing I have to sit on here, people will be like, oh, but you don't have a work-life balance. I bet you hate. I love my freaking life because every single day we just helped 4 people break in the last 2 days. I changed their life.
Yeah.
Every single day I wake up at 6 a.m. or at 4 a.m. or doing a call. We're making a difference in this world. It lights me on fire.
Yeah.
I love it. So it doesn't matter what anybody else is going to say, but what I'm just going to sit here and tell you is most people try to do stuff for money and do all the things. Guess why we've been so successful? None of this was ever for the money. It's just to help people. And then once you do that, it just goes.
The impact is what really makes the difference. And then the more you impact people, the more money you make naturally.
That's it. And then this is what people can't get their hands around. Value continues to add more value into, because like, here's one thing that we talk about is right. Like we started making content and then what we invest in our business, a studio that now we get to let you come in and we do a podcast together. And we're going to do a podcast right after this with you on it, right? The reason is though, it's the value that continues to come from it. And what most people don't do is they'll get one hit and then they go spend the money or they'll do it. But when you continue just to invest, it's why we do nonprofits. It's why we work with scholarships and give back to like my buddy who passed away of brain cancer. We have the Think Bigger Scholarship. I donate. I'm sitting here telling it on air and I can't wait. One day we'll give a scholarship to every kid in that school. It's the best. Like it's what drives me every single day. Not so I can say, oh, I did this. To know my buddy's legacy lives on and we're going to make an impact in a school that's from this poorest county in Iowa. To let those kids think about something different. Like that's what people miss. And when you're just a driven young individual, what I just sit here and tell you, it goes back to what I say. I heard something about 3 years ago I needed to when I started this journey and it was, you need to define who your haters are. You know who don't like me? Insecure, not hardworking people who don't want to level up in life.
Yeah.
Those are the people who will watch this podcast and be like, that guy sucks. He's arrogant, whatever. Those are the people. And I'm okay with that. And it goes back to eagles don't fly with pigeons. It's the saying I'm going to continue to say, and we say it on our podcast all the time. People will be like, oh, that's stupid. Great. But it's why eagles can go eat salmon and they're flying all the time and pigeons are running into windows and pecking the ground, right? Most people are going to tell you why you suck and why you can't do what you can do. But like I said, that's all I do in my content. That's all we do in our course is tell them why they can do it. Because I'm sitting here telling you the only limits are the ones that are up here. Every single time I talk to managers who tell tell our people why they can't break in. And then we get them broken in 3 weeks. It's because don't let those people put limits on you. It's the same thing in the content, man. Everyone's going to tell you why your content's blah, 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 blah. But it's one thing I'm learning as you continue to have this success is don't take the highs too high and the lows too low.
Yeah, remain constant.
Yeah, because everyone's going to tell you why you're great. And then the next comment, like it literally happened. I watched a video that said that. And literally the next comment was, you suck, shut your effing mouth. And then the next comment was, you've changed my life. You're the best. Right? It's just like this. It was a different people. But I think but the reason I'm saying that is the roller coaster was right there in 2 comments within 30 seconds of each other.
That's the world though. So like there's an equal opposing force. So as much evil is in the world, which there's a lot of evil. There's also that much good in the world. Yeah. So it's an equal opposing force.
Well, hopefully this can help.
I choose good.
Well, and I'll sit here and tell you guys, everyone's asked how, go from making no money to then making more money than I ever thought I could in a month. Right. And the conversation is because of where I put my energy and my time. I choose positivity and I choose to growth every single day.
Yes.
I've cut out like in the last 12 months, man, like, cause I couldn't go full time on a business and do all this stuff and close one of the largest deals in company's histories while building a business that's doing what it's doing while having another business on the side. If I was around negative people doing that, I'd cut out a lot of negative people in my relationships. And that even means family. Now that doesn't mean I cold call them and never talk to them again, but like, hey, if you have somebody who calls you and tells you like just drama all the time, maybe instead of talking to them every single day, you talk to them once a week. Like it's limiting your time and your space. Cause like my mentor talked about this. Think about this cup. Every single day, you only have so much energy.
Yeah.
Every single person you talk to either does two things. They either fill the cup or they drain the cup.
Yeah. You don't want to be around people like who drain the cup.
Bam. And so it's what you can just do like positivity. I can sit here and tell you got to see the mountains. The thing that fills my cup the most, watching the sunrise every single morning. And remember, I'm I'm not where I used to be.
I love that.
Right. And that's like, I literally was a personal trainer. I was making an extra $1,500 to $2,000 a month training. I cut that person out, fired them. Not because I need to. It was literally just so I could watch the sunrise every morning. And I can sit here and tell you by doing that, my revenue went up way more than that. Just because it filled my cup. It got me in a positive mindset. I didn't get drained. And then now I could just focus on, hey, how can I keep blessing other people? And then it just continues to go.
Yeah, that's why I'm so grateful to be here. And I think the podcast that I really realize is as I have these individuals on like yourself, each one of you are very unique.
Yeah.
But I specifically choose, we talked about this, you might be good at what you do, but no one knows you.
Yeah.
I typically only will want on others that are like me.
Yep.
Who also have a brand, who also put themselves out there, because it's a different level of mentality and a different level of conversation. And each one of you brings something very unique, but it's that each one of you always is thinking, like you specifically are thinking like just bigger picture, CEO mindset, not worried about what anyone else is saying, but like where was I and look at me now? Like the platform that God has gifted you.
Yeah.
That you're in this position to be able to do these type of things is amazing. And you don't have that appreciation unless you start from where you came from.
Exactly, man. It's the truth. Like, and I can just sit here and tell you guys, it's like, we just had a record-breaking month for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of those moments I thought about sleeping on the air mattress, being all alone by myself.
Wow.
Said this to one of my buddies, is I don't think anyone really understands how lonely this path is. But when you find other people who can somewhat understand, it makes it a lot of fun. But I think that's the thing, is like, I've had a lot of cool opportunities coming, especially in the last 2 months that have come my way. And I always just tell people, I think you're absolutely crazy if you think this is just me who did it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, God's brought me here today, man. The only reason I'm here sitting with you right now is because of God. Like, he continues to bless me every single day, continues to take me where he wants to take me. But I'll sit here and tell you, know why that's happened? Is because I've gotten to a point where I pray every single day, if this is not where you want me, take it all away. I'll sit here and tell you, as a guy who came from nothing, that's the scariest prayer ever.
Definitely is.
Because that's the mindset I've actually had to break. That's what kept me under making $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a month. That mindset of, when's it go back to nothing? When's it go back to zero? Hey, I made 20 grand this month. Okay, when's it go back to zero? That's the mindset I actually had to shift and break. Of, it ain't going anywhere. I'm living in abundance. But then you get to a point where you trust God enough of like, even if it does go away, even if I never made another dollar from it, I'm good.
I'm trusting God.
Right. And so, but I can sit here and tell you, because I just had one of my buddies, Brenton Ross, like, he's amazing, has Lifted Lifestyle, an awesome gym, an awesome brand for like supplements. And he's one of the best dudes I've ever met. And we were just having a talk, but it was just every single day talking about surrendering to God. And I think that's what's different in certain people in the world, is everyone is like, oh, I'm going to do it the way. But I can just sit here and tell you why our business is having success. It's because we've never done it trying to do the worldly way.
I was just about to say that. I ain't going to do the worldly way.
No.
You want me to, we talked about that. You want me to sit in a Lamborghini with a couple chicks and be like, but this is what everyone else is doing. That is right. That's what everyone else is doing. Yep. I'm going to go the opposite route. And I quoted you a scripture in Psalms where it says, what can a man do to me? The Bible literally says that. For what can a man do to me?
Yep.
God can take it away, remove it, and give you everything you didn't even ever know you wanted, but he can be the one to push that button. And next thing you know, your life's changed forever.
Dude.
But the world will sell you that they can do what God can do. The world will say, oh, Jacob, we're going to blow you up. We're going to get you to 1 million subscribers. You just got to do X, Y, Z things. Yeah. But we'll get you there.
Yeah.
You just got to do that. No, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
Go find someone else.
Yep. Tell you go fly a kite is one of my favorite sayings.
Yeah. Go fly a kite.
Yeah, man. That's like, my thing is, don't need it. Right? No. Like, I say this all the time, and it's one thing that continues to just keep me humbled as I go through it, is what good is it to gain the world if you lose your soul?
It's nothing.
It's not worth it.
And don't go at it alone, Jacob.
Yeah.
Now that we met, I'm super grateful for this.
Yeah.
But like, dude, if I can share one thing I've learned, like, and I know we're both very different in our tracks. Like, your business is blowing up. Like, I'm just getting started on that front. Yeah. But one thing I've learned from like a content perspective is like, you got to be around others who also create, because it is a lonely road.
Oh man.
And all my friends now are content creators.
Yep.
And I'm thankful that they live in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Yeah.
And I'm going to link you up with them. But like, you got to have those guys in your corner that are not only like in the grind with you, they might be separate, but like they're with you.
Damn.
And you can give them a call and say, dude, like struggling with this.
Yeah. Well, because they understand.
They understand. It's a different level of mindset.
So this is the biggest thing. And this is why people are watching this right now. It's community.
It's community. You need community.
You need community. Everyone. And so I can sit here and tell you that you're 100% right. You don't like one of the things I've always done in my business and what I've done, lone wolf it. Right.
It's tough.
And then just so you know, that's a lot of sales reps.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people in sales. Lone wolf. Lone wolf's good for certain points, but they won't like we talk about this all the time. A lone wolf is a great performer, a cancer to an organization. They'll go perform, but then they're going to call everyone else stupid, or they're going to do all the other stuff, right? What you can't have in that is to do it. What happens is you need to be having people that you can have like that as relationships. And if there's anything I've learned, especially over the last 3-4 years of building businesses, sacrificing relationships, man, all life is about like one of the biggest, what I can just sit here and tell you guys is the month I lost my best friend to brain cancer. It's also the same month I got my biggest commission check of my life. And why I say that is because you think it's all gonna, hey, just give you 50 grand and you'll be happy. It's all crap, man. Like all this life is friendships, it's relationships, and it's experiences, man. That's it. It's who you have in your corner. Who can I call? Right? We just watched the story off of Chris Williams talking about, the Mexican fisherman, where it's talking about he has this and he goes and catches a couple fish, and then he's going to go spend time with his family, take some nap, and then siesta, and then he's going to go hang out with his buddies in the evening playing guitar and do what he loves. And then, like the USA guy is like, oh, I'm from Harvard. Here, go blow your business up. Do this for the next 15 years. You can own everything. You'll make a bunch of millions. And then like the whole story is he's like, why would I do that? And he's like, so then you can go live the exact life you're living now. Right. And I think that's what we miss a lot of times is we're trying to always go chase because it's money, because the world tells us, hey, well, you make a $5 million, go make 10 million. Go, hey, you got a $10 million, go get $20 million. Oh, you got a Lambo that's 2020, get 2024. Hey, get the nicer car, get the nicer, because it's never good enough.
It's never good enough.
And so that's the thing is like, here's the one thing I can sit here and tell you guys. I've never once chased like the money, the cars, all that stuff. Right. It was always about purpose and impact.
And we talked about that. You also love the process though. Same.
Oh my gosh.
Love the process.
You fall in love with the process because that's what makes the journey worth it. Right. Mm-hmm. But the reason I just say that is like, once you start actually turning on, like, I started asking like, God, what do you want from me? What do you want me to do with my life? I got everything I was ever chasing. Whatever car I want, whatever it is. Right. But who cares? Like, I still drive my Subaru Forester. My dog loves that thing. He just runs in it. Right. I've had it since med device sales. Yeah, cool. But like the one thing I'll just sit here and tell you is we get told these lies of like, hey, once you get the car, once you get the house, once you get the girl, once you get the whatever, it'll make you happy. Guess what's going to make you happy? You being happy. You actually liking who you are. One of the biggest things I've had to go through in the last several years is like being okay with being alone with me. Hey, what? Because I don't think this is talked about enough, but like, hey, Jake, how did you build all this stuff? I didn't want to be alone with myself, so I just built. I worked a lot.
Yeah.
I sacrificed a lot of relationships.
Very similar in that way.
And so it wasn't until a point till now that now I can say this as being a CEO, having people that I'm responsible for, right? You have to grow. You don't have a choice to grow. But like, hey, what can I do to make their life better? But also we got to make sure the relationships are good. We're experiences. And that's why I will continue to run our businesses. I'll continue to do different things in our life. It will never be predicated off the money. It'll never be focused on what's this outcome of like the worldly thing. What I tell our crew every time, if we ain't sitting here making a difference in people's lives and having fun, what the heck are we doing this all for? Right? Because otherwise I'll just go get another W-2 job and have someone yell at me and tell me why I suck. Right? The whole point of this is like, let's go make a difference in the world. Let's go continue to encourage people and make sure we're having fun of it. And what I want you all to hear when I say that, that's you in your journey right now trying to break into sales. That's you when you're actually the sales rep. If you're not enjoying the journey, what the heck are we doing this for? If you don't love actually going and servicing your accounts and having fun and getting to know Jason and Craig and Emma and getting to know how you can help them and make a relationship, then what are we doing this for? That's what most people miss. And that's one thing I'll just say is everyone has always asked what made me so good at med device sales and how I had success. And it's always the easiest answer. And I always say it over and over. I never tried to be a med device rep. I always tried to be a personal trainer. Every single day when I do a personal training, I had to get to know the person. I had to create a relationship with them. I had to get them results, but I had to actually just care about them. They're in a very uncomfortable position, trying to come and lose weight, get better, look, whatever it is. So, like when I was working with scrub techs, I'd go in the OR, get in stuff. Everyone always tries to go in and sell. You know what I never try to do? Sell. I got to know Sarah. I got to know she has 2 kids. I got to figure out why she wanted to be a nurse. I got to figure out. So then when I walk in, Jacob, what's up? Hey, I saw you went hiking with your dog this weekend. And that's what I tell people is the moment I knew I made it in med device sales, and when I say made it, turned my territory around to where we went from the lowest performing to where we were top 10. How I knew I had made it is when they no longer looked at me as Jacob, the Medtronic rep. They looked at me as Jacob. And most people will be like, no, you can't. Business is business and all that. And that's why you lose. Because I'm trying to get to know the person. And guess what? When I walk out, that person's actually selling my product for me. Every single time. I always tell people, my first 6 months, I took the lowest performing territory in the nation. AKA, I walked in and everybody's like, what the hell are you doing here? They're pissed off that I walk in the room. I just tell people, be that golden retriever shaking your butt. Right? Just be happy and take it. And know what happened is I end up doing their jobs for them because they're lazy.
That's real.
And then you want to know what I did every single time? Hey, thank you so much for all your help today.
Oh, yeah.
And not from a passive aggressive. I really meant, they could tell that I was like, hey, thanks for all your help. It took 6 months to turn a territory that had never performed. I just cared about the actual people I was dealing with every single day. And I didn't look at them as dollar signs because I knew if I could do something today that would help my territory in 3, 6, 9, or 12 months, then it would all pay off. But I was just like, what can I do today that can actually make a difference in my territory? But also, what can I do today that's going to actually help me get to know somebody else? Everyone's always trying to prove themselves. Everybody just wants to be heard.
Guys, this is fire. I mean, the reason that we're together is from a mutual friend, Chris Devine, who said, hey, you guys seem similar. I think you two should connect. And now we're here, and
social media.
It's social media. It's like, who knows you? And I think, from what it sounds, all of Jacob's story that I'm listening, you guys are listening to, really get a good understanding of he didn't come from having everything handed to him. He grinded for everything that he has today, as both of us have. And this is just the beginning. We talked off camera, content is going to be the play for the remainder of 2024. And it has been for the last 4 years for you, last 2 years for me. And we're going to be everywhere. You expect to see Jacob every single platform, LinkedIn, YouTube, Spotify, TikTok, wherever. Me as well. I am not slowing down this year because content is going to control the narrative. So even though people might sit there and say, oh, I've got more experience than Jacob in medical sales, I've got more experience than Will in software sales. The thing is that we're actually creatives. We actually are looking at a camera, thinking of an idea, posting it, interacting, building a community, making an impact on others. If God ever tells me no more, then that's that. But until that time, I'm going to be pressing forward, God willing, and create the biggest community that I've ever imagined, and Jacob likewise too. And this is what it's all about. So I want to close with just letting people understand where they can find you. Just tell them how they can connect with you.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah. So if it's on a lot of the socials personally, like LinkedIn, Instagram, Jacob McLaughlin, just my name. But for our business, if you're interested in medical device sales or somebody that's interested in medical device sales, our business is new to medical device sales. Again, we've been able to help over 1,500 people break in the last 2.5 years. It's been awesome. Our average person breaks in 8.2 weeks at $94,478. But our links are just new to medicaldevicesales.com. If you search medical device sales, there's a good chance you'll see my face pop up. But we're on pretty much every platform that you can imagine. So that's the thing that we've just been able to really push towards the last several years. But really appreciate you having me on, and it's just been an absolute pleasure. And just want to say it's been fun to get to know you more, and I'm so excited for the impact that you're having on your community, and just know that this is just the beginning for you.
Thanks, brother. And thanks for having me at the studio. This means a lot. So this is just a start, guys. Episode 10 wrapped. All right. Thank you.